Making headlines tonight, Pollard displeased at his team's performances. Wolves striker hospitalised with head injury. And F1 investigating violent accident. Good evening and welcome to the Major ZDK Sports Edition for Tuesday, December 1, 2020. I am your presenter, Terry Laraji, and now for the details. We begin tonight bowling off with cricket. Following Monday night's rained-off third and final T20 International, West Indies went down 2-0 to New Zealand in a series for the second time in succession, leaving captain Kieron Pollard displeased at his team's performances. On this trip, the visitors lost a close first contest by 5 wickets, but were totally outplayed in the second match, where they came up short by 72 runs. A poor bowling and fielding effort, followed by feeble batting from the world champions West Indies, led Pollard to lament the fact that the Windies simply failed to execute their plans.
Between overs, 9 to 15, I thought they got away from us. There we wasn't able to execute our plans, properly. And again, that shows, when you're playing international cricket, when you're slightly off, guys are waiting to punk. So, Phillips batted well, Conway batted well, and I didn't think we were good enough, today with the ball again. And again, especially in the field, we didn't do ourselves any justice as well, with some sloppy fielding.
Kieron Pollard. With the defence of the World Cup coming up next year, Pollard noted that if players don't show the right attitude, they may get the boot. Adding to the Windies' woes are certain players not wanting to represent the nation, instead chasing the almighty dollar. Andre Russell, who declined to play for West Indies against New Zealand, is certainly making the most of his time in the Lanka Premier League. On Saturday, Russell hammered a 14-ball 50 in an innings of 65 not out, as Colombo Kings smashed a record 96 runs from 5 overs in a staggering rain-shortened clash against Gore Gladiators to win by 34 runs. Meanwhile, West Indies Test captain Jason Holder has signed with BBL champions, the Sydney Sixers, for a 3-game stint following the Test series against New Zealand. The travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand allows Holder to enter Australia without having to complete the mandatory 14-day quarantine. Following the 2 Test series in New Zealand, he will head straight to Hobart to play in the December 20 clash with the Adelaide Strikers. He will also be available for the December 26 fixture against the Melbourne Stars and the December 29 match with the Melbourne Renegades. Meantime, Cricket West Indies CWI President Ricky Skerritt feels an already problematic cash situation for Cricket West Indies has turned dramatically worse in the COVID-19 enforced break. Speaking to crickbuzz.com, Skerritt explained how the COVID-19 pandemic not only eliminated the possibility of spectator revenues, but it shut down all airports and seaports for several months, and moving players and fans around the region has become near impossible. Regional movement of cricket teams is only just re-emerging as a possibility, but Skerritt warned it will be at increased health safety and travel costs. The biggest impact on CWI finances has been the uncertainty in the commercial broadcasting and sponsorship markets, which halted the movement of nearly all commercial revenue, which is in the millions. This made an already problematic cash situation pre-COVID-19 dramatically worse. And the World Test Championship is under threat of being discontinued after its inaugural edition, with the International Cricket Council's new chairman, Greg Barclay, questioning whether the model is fit for purpose. New Zealander Barclay is planning to lead a review of a global calendar that has been heavily disrupted by the coronavirus pandemic. The Test League table, an innovation which only officially began with the 2019 Ashes and is due to culminate in a Lord's final between the top 2 nations next summer, is at risk. Brought in after years of discussion in a bid to lend context to bilateral series, the ideas had a bumpy start due to the uneven nature of international schedules and mass cancellations in the pandemic forcing a change to the points system. Australia and India occupy the top 2 positions as it stands, with England third. However, Windies head coach Phil Simmons has described the World Test Championship WTC as extremely significant for West Indies in the upcoming 2 Test series against New Zealand.
It's extremely significant. I think it's a format that we haven't done well in for a long time, and we are trying to get ourselves back into the higher ends of the table where Test cricket is concerned. And because of that, initially we want to do a Test championship, but at the same time we want to be winners in Test cricket itself.
Phil Simmons. West Indies are currently third from bottom on the WTC standings with a solitary win from 5 matches. Simmons reckoned that the 2-0 loss in the T20 International Series against the Black Caps would not impact the team's preparations and performances in the upcoming Test Series. The first Test bowls off on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time. For former West Indies fast bowler Winston Benjamin, though, it is about time we started playing the West Indian way.
Would say, listen, let me go back to playing our natural cricket, the way we played cricket in the past. We just got to be more focused and more selective in our stroke play because our batting has been atrocious. I mean, we have not put together consistently a good total. We have batsmen with potential. But then even look at what is happening to us now. As soon as somebody with a little pace bowl a few shot about us, we are all in 6 and 9s.
Winston Benjamin. Meanwhile, a statue of Barbados and West Indies' iconic fast bowler Sir Wes Hall was unveiled at Kensington Oval on Sunday night, on the eve of the country's 54th year of independence. Between 1958 and 1969, Sir Wes played 48 tests for the West Indies, taking 192 wickets. During the 1960-61 series between the West Indies and Australia, he featured prominently, taking 9 wickets in the famous tied test in Brisbane. The 8-foot-tall statue was erected next to that of another Barbados and West Indies legend, Sir Garfield Sobers. And local teams here in Antigua and Barbuda are gearing up for the ABCA 10 Splash tournament, which commences later this week. While speaking on ZDK Sportsline show, Pigott's head coach, Ajani Fredericks, in preparation for the tournament, says it's all about knowing your players.
I take it one at a time. And also you look at that because you know the experience of the player and you know the capability of the players. So going forward, you know, this player can do what you required on the day.
Ajani Fredericks. The ABCA 10 Splash tournament bowls off on Saturday at the Sir Vivian Richards Cricket Stadium with the first round of matches, which is for the first 10 days. The entrance will be free. One will only pay $5 per vehicle to park inside the stadium. For the second round of matches, the entrance will be $10 per person. Meantime, former West Indies fast bowler Kenneth Benjamin on ZDK Sportsline show stated that MP Chet Green has no right to want to claim the Liberta Sports Club for the government. Benjamin says whenever Green is ready to pawn the club, he will challenge him.
Whenever he's ready to pawn it, I'm challenging him to come and pawn it because I don't understand why someone like Green would call in just to create issues, you know. There has to be opposition. And if I oppose you, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people can oppose, but some people can't, you know. By calling and telling lies about us running the footballers, and about us, you know, using our club facilities as a political avenue. I must tell you is that the UPP rented the facility from us to have a meeting, and they paid us. And we told them they have to pay us. The other week, they couldn't pay, so they went down to English Harbour and they had their meeting. And he went on the radio saying that they had the elections over there, which the elections were held in the Bertha Primary School. And I recall the day to show that. Subsequently, he had requested the use of the facilities for some health fair. And we gave the building to him as usual, no charge, because it is a health fair for the community. You understand? But it seems like his issue, because I am opposing him, he's having a problem with that. People will oppose people. But don't bring this Liberta Sports Club into my personal life.
Benjamin says Green needs to keep the politics as politics.
And so he needs to keep the politics as politics and leave Liberta Sports Club out of it because we are non-political. Everybody have their own political persuasion, but that doesn't mean that we can't do things together.
Kenneth Benjamin. Green has insisted that Benjamin is a ghost worker by not doing the job he is paid to do for the Ministry of Sport and instead has his own political agenda. Meantime, the Ministry of Education, Sports and the Creative Industries is pleased to announce its commitment to sports in Antigua and Barbuda by hosting a National Sports Honours in February 2021. In a press release, the ministry said that this year, the challenging effects of COVID-19 has immensely affected sporting activities in Antigua and Barbuda, and as a result, competitive sports was put on hold. Nonetheless, the Department of Sports has seen the need to highlight and showcase sporting stakeholders for their outstanding achievements in sports in Antigua and Barbuda. As such, in lieu of the 2020 National Sports Awards, the ministry will host a National Sports Honours that will seek to acknowledge individuals who have contributed sterling services to sports in their respective sporting disciplines over the years. The award ceremony will be held on Saturday, February 13, 2021. And England cruised to a 9-wicket victory today in the third and final T20 International against South Africa in Cape Town to clean sweep the 3-match series 3-0. Scores in the match: England 192 for 1 off 17.4 overs, Malan 99 not out, Butler 67 not out, South Africa 191 for 3, Van der Dusen 74 not out, du Plessis 52 not out. In other sporting developments tonight, kicking into football, Jamaica Reggae Boys remain firmly fixed on top of the Caribbean Football Union CFU rankings. It follows the latest release of the FIFA World Rankings for this month, which put the Jamaicans at 47th in the world, making them the highest-ranked team in the CFU and the third-ranked in CONCACAF. The biggest drop in the CONCACAF region on the World Rankings table was recorded by St. Kitts and Nevis. They fell 3 places to 140th, but they remained at number 6 in the CFU, whose standings were unchanged for November, while Antigua and Barbuda maintained their world ranking of 126th and are ranked 8th in the CFU. Meantime, Wolves striker Raul Jimenez has had surgery on a fractured skull suffered in a clash of heads during his side's Premier League win at Arsenal. Sunday's match was in its early stages when Jimenez and Gunners defender David Luiz accidentally collided at an Arsenal corner. He was given oxygen on the pitch before being taken to hospital. And West Ham moved 5th in the Premier League with a 2-1 victory over Aston Villa in a pulsating match at London Stadium last night, while Newcastle United's game at Premier League rivals Aston Villa on Friday has been postponed following a significant increase in COVID-19 cases at the Magpies training ground. Several Newcastle players and staff members are self-isolating at home after returning positive test results. Running into athletics, Garth Gale is the new president of the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, JAAA, after crossing the line well in front in a resounding victory over Jamaican sprinting great Donald Quarry by 236 votes to 28 at Saturday's annual general meeting. Gale claimed 89% of the available votes on what, as expected, turned out to be a good day for the members of the former long-serving Honorary Secretary's slate of candidates. Driving into motor racing now, world champion Lewis Hamilton will miss this weekend's Formula One Sakir Grand Prix in Bahrain after testing positive for coronavirus. His team, Mercedes, said the Briton woke with mild symptoms on Monday and returned a positive result at a subsequent test and again at a retest. Hamilton, who is now self-isolating, won the Bahrain Grand Prix at the same circuit on Sunday. The 35-year-old said he is devastated to miss Sunday's race. Meantime, Formula One's authorities have started their investigations into Romain Grosjean's violent accident in the Bahrain Grand Prix, with Ross Brawn saying there were a number of things that shouldn't have happened in the frightening accident. Grosjean astonishingly escaped with burns to the back of his hands from one of the most horrifying crashes in recent Formula One history. Striking the barrier on the exit turn 3 at high speed, the Frenchman's Haas car split in two and caught fire. Formula One strives for ever-improving safety standards for both its cars and circuits, and the Halo head protection device, introduced amid controversy in 2018, has been widely credited for saving Grosjean's life. As is the case with all significant accidents, the sports officials are therefore determined to learn more about what happened in Sundays in order to make further improvements. Grosjean says he saw death coming in his fiery crash and fought to get out for his children. Touching down in gridiron in Monday night's NFL game, the Seahawks defeated the Eagles 23-17. And finally tonight, on this day in history in 1893, Herman Griffith, who was born this day, was 34 before he played his first Test match. West Indies disappointed on the 1928 tour of England, but Griffith was an outstanding success, taking 76 wickets, including his innings best of 6 for 103 at the Oval. On the 1930-31 tour of Australia, he handed Don Bradman his first Test duck in Sydney in 1931. And that story has brought us to the end of our sporting developments for tonight. Now to recap our top story. Following Monday night's rained-off third and final T20 International, West Indies went down 2-0 to New Zealand in a series for the second time in succession leaving captain Kieron Pollard displeased at his team's performances. I have been your presenter, Terry Laraji. Thank you for listening. To watch ZDK Sports Package, go to the YouTube channel of Terry Laraji, The Straight Bat, and subscribe. Stay tuned now for your Voice of America update. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.